Welcome to tutorialsinhand.com. In this video tutorial, we will see how we can use final keyword in Java. So the first thing you must be aware is that final can be used with class, it can also be used with method, and it can be used with variables. So we will see when final is applied on class, method or variable, how it changes the behavior of these entities. One thing you must be aware is whenever final keyword is used in Java on these particular class, method or variables, it puts certain restrictions on each of them. So let's begin with class. How using final keyword on class impacts a class in Java. So for example, we already have one public class tutorials in hand that is containing the main method. So let's create another class, let's say TIH Academy. Now currently we do not have anything in TIH Academy, right? But we don't need anything. Demonstrate how final impacts the class. For example, now we see that class TIH Academy is created and we have tutorials in hand class. Now if tutorials in hand wants to inherit the properties of TIH Academy, then it can easily do so using the extends keyword. Extends allows inheritance in Java, right? Now if you see, TIH Academy is now extended by this tutorials in hand and it happily does that without any error. Now if you put final with this particular class, then it will impact this inheritance in Java. Now if we have applied this final with TIH Academy and it says that we cannot subclass final class TIH Academy, that means once you apply final with any class, you cannot extend that particular class. You cannot create a subclass of that particular class. So it is obvious that when final is used with class, it prevents inheritance in Java. So if you don't want any of your class to be inherited or extended or subclassed, so you should use final keyword with that particular class, right? So we have seen how final impacts the class. Now let's move to method. Now suppose we have one method in this TIH Academy. Let's name that method public void sample method, and we are not going to do anything in it. We will just print a simple statement, hi learners, and this is what this sample method is going to do, right? Now what is happening is, since we have not used final, now we can easily extend TIH Academy. So tutorials in hand has extended TIH Academy, right? In this case, you know that we can override a method if we have is a relationship. That means if there is an inheritance relationship between two class, then the subclass, that is tutorials in hand, is a subclass of TIH Academy, right? So subclass tutorials in hand can override the methods of its parent class and give its own implementation to it. So let's try to do that. Just copy this and paste it in tutorials in hand, and now just change it. Here you will print hi tutorials in hand learners. Now we have simply changed this statement, but in real life examples you will have a different logic over here, like different calculation logic. Since we are just understanding how final impacts, so we have kept it simple for now, right? So in this case, what is happening is we have overridden the method, sample method of the parent class in the child class tutorials in hand, and it allows to do so very easily. But now suppose you don't want, or the creator of this class TIH Academy don't want anyone to override this method. That means this overriding must be restricted. So if we want to do that, in that case TIH Academy creator needs to use final keyword along with this method. method, public final void sample method, and once you apply final with this method, you see as you applied final there is a compilation error on this method in the subclass. And what is the error? It will say cannot override the final method from TIH Academy. That means this method is now final, so you cannot override it. You can have a different name if you want, that will work, but you cannot override. If you don't know what is overriding, then we have created a video tutorial on that. You will find the link in the description section. Please go and visit that. But overriding is something like you have the same method name and same signature as it is present in the parent class, and you are having the same name in the child class as well, and there you are creating your own implementation of that particular method. Suppose this was a calculator. Okay, so in parent class the calculator was applying the logic for addition on two numbers, but in the child class what happened is when child overridden it applied the logic for multiplication instead of addition. So this is how the child class can change the implementation of the parent class. And if the parent class wants to restrict this particular overriding of any particular method, then it should apply the final keyword as we have applied in TIH Academy sample method, and thus it puts a restriction on overriding of this particular method. So if you want any of your method to be restricted from getting overridden in the subclasses, then apply final keyword. Right now suppose you want to apply final on variables. Now how this will impact? If you have a variable say named int number is equals to 10, now later what you can do is you can simply change the value of this number whenever you want, and it will allow you to do so, right? But if you apply final with the variable, any variable that you have, if you put final along with that, then you will not be allowed to change that number's value later. That means it is used to create constant variables. Okay, so 10 will remain constant if we have applied final on this variable number. You cannot change it later. See, the final local variable number cannot be assigned. It must be blank and not using any compound statement. So you cannot change this. Even if you have this as string, and suppose you have string as TIH, and later if you want to change this to any other string, it will not be allowed. Let's change it to some other string and see, it will give the error. So any variable marked as final cannot be altered later. That means the final local variable cannot be reassigned any value, as you are seeing over here. So in this video tutorial we have seen how application of final with class, method and variable impacts each of them in Java. Hope you have got some clarity on using the final with any of these, and in future whenever you will be working on any project you will be able to apply based on the logic that you need. So hope you have enjoyed this video tutorial. Please like and subscribe our channel to help us motivate. Thank you.